Hi, this is Eric Hagen, also known as Eric the Sculptor. Today I'm going to talk about some of the tools I use. I actually find that the less tools and the simpler tools is the better. And for me, one of the most important tools I have is these turntables. I've tried various smaller ones, but I found that by making my own out of plywood, and I have a really heavy-duty 1,000-pound rating Lazy Susan swivel underneath. I can do any size sculpture and they turn really easily. And also I have a bigger plate that corresponds to the size of my kiln, so that when I do ceramic that's going to be fired in my kiln, this tells me the limit of the size I can make. So I know it'll fit in my kiln if it fits on this plate. This is actually an oil-based clay, so that's less of an issue. This will be made into bronze. Most of the tools I use are really very simple. Probably the most important tool I have is just a simple little bamboo tool with a curved side and then a flat side. It's got a loop on this end and a little pointy end. I have a bigger one, the same kind of tool. That's used for the general forms, the big areas, cutting in underneath and things like that. The loop has a little teeth on one side and a smooth on the other side. It helps to get some texture, so if you want a little bit of texture, you can easily bring the texture in. It's a simple little metal tool that I actually bought. It had this nice end on this side, but the other end was pointy and useless. So I ground it down and curved it a special way so that I can get into edges like this, dig underneath. It's good for rounding around. This is what I use for pushing the eyes, to sculpt the eyes, things like that. This is a little skewer, just a simple little wooden stick, and it's nice because it's pointed on this end. It's got flat edges that are often used for following an edge. The flat edge really helps to keep it controlled, but also the long stick helps because then I can really see what the angle that I'm pushing at and make sure I've got the angles correct. I also sometimes use them to locate features on the item, so I might push it in this ear to make sure that I put the other ear in the correct spot. I use a simple little loop tool for digging out features. This is a little tool with little metal hairs. It's used for adding texture. She's got these incredible dreadlocks, so I'm going to have to go through each dreadlock and slowly sculpt in texture with this. So it's kind of time consuming, but this tool really helps a lot. It makes a nice texture. I use a lot of these little toothpicks. Toothpicks are great because they can get into really small spots, but also because they can sometimes be used, like I was using the other one before, to locate features. I also sometimes find that something, if I see a problem that I need to fix later, I'll stick a toothpick in there so I remember that I have to go back and fix something. I also find these are great as when you need some structure, so if something's a little bit of a weak feature, I feel like it might fall off, I can push the toothpick in and hold it in place while I'm working on it. And then it's very easy to get rid of the little mark. I love really cheap plastic combs. I cut them up into little pieces. This is actually a piece of a long comb. And then this is used for making texture really quickly, adding texture to items. Also sometimes you can use for this kind of scrolling to make hair and things like that. And then some simple little brushes that are used for smoothing out, a little bit of adding texture with those too. I find these little scouring pads are great because they have a great kind of a random texture. So it's really nice to be able to add kind of a random texture like that. That's how I did the coat texture right up here. This area where the coat is. She's going to have a lot more hair. This sculpture is only about half done. But you can see that the tools required are really very simple. It's just a matter of time. So thanks for watching. This is Eric Hagen, also known as Eric the Sculptor, and you can check out my website at www.ericthesculptor.com.